say goodbye to Michigan. John K. Holland saved me, literally and figuratively. He had been in Colorado for 2 years already, while friends back in Michigan were busy getting married, raising families, and working their way up the corporate ladder as most adults do. I wasn't. I had ruined lives and broken up a marriage or two and left most people with a bad taste in their mouth if and whenever my name was mentioned. I had to leave. On the other hand, John was everybody's friend and a friend to all, even to me. John had been living in Snowmass, Colorado for 2 years or so and invited one and all to come and join him in the Rocky Mountains. I did. At the time, I was living in an apartment complex. They were apartment buildings. Over here in Japan, they are called danchis. I'm not sure what you call them back in the USA, but they were low-cost housing. One of my old girlfriend's sisters and her family were living there. They introduced me to the place. They actually helped me to get in there. And yes, as you guessed it, I tried to kiss that sister one night when her husband wasn't home. Talk about a lowlife. I sold whatever I could. And actually, my dad had recently loaned me $5,000 to buy this nice Buick. Fortunately, another guy working in my section at Detroit Edison Company took over the payments and bought the car. His name was Ron. He was a tall guy and didn't like to wear suits. He looked like a basketball player. One time, he and I went to lunch. We both had a beer when I got into an argument with another Detroit Edison employee. This guy and I were enemies from the start, as I remember. At the bar, he was ready to fight when I threw the remainder of my beer on him and his suit. That got him really pissed. And he was ready to do battle, but he backed off when Ron stood up behind me. That scared him off. After my announcement to move, my father and mother came to my place to say goodbye and tie up any loose ends. My brother was also there. My mother was still disbelieving and sad and worried. And just to make a point here, after I came to Japan, some 5, 7, 8, 9 years later, and settled down, my sister, who was 2 years younger than I, brought my Polish mother here to Japan to attend my wedding. My mother flew only twice in her life. Both times were to visit us here in Japan. The first time was the wedding, and the second time she came solo to stay with us at our home after our 2 daughters were born. I have a lovely photo of the 5 of us at Shinjuku Gyoen in Tokyo, directly behind me as I type this story. Mom is wearing shades. With that, the 3 of them, my mother, father, and brother, came to my place as I mumbled and bumbled my way through trying to explain why I was quitting this good job that my brother had secured for me at Detroit Edison and why I was leaving Michigan to move to Colorado. And the truth is that I worn out my welcome in Michigan with friends and family, not really caring about anything about myself. We are talking here selfish, childish. My brother told me many years later that at that sit-down talk in my living room, he saw a tear in my father's eye. My father? A tear? I didn't see any tears. And I don't believe that till this day. My father was a man amongst men. Soon after that, I was winging my way to the Rocky Mountains. I took a flight to Denver International and then transferred to the Rocky Airways. John called them the Rocky Scareways. And the sad news is that a really nice guy that I met there in Colorado, he was a roadie for the band, perished in a plane crash while I was there. I can still see his face, his graying beard, a broad grin, and a southern drawl. But I forgot his name. But my plane didn't crash. Instead, I checked into a local hotel when I arrived. John was out doing a river rafting tour, so I had to wait until he was done. When we met, he told me a story that when another buddy had arrived to meet him there in Colorado, that buddy immediately went into town to get drunk and ended up sleeping in a doorway somewhere. But that wasn't me. I didn't know what to expect or what to do. I was adrift. A lot of men there had beards and cowboy hats. A beard. I tried to grow one. Actually, I did. But it was a disaster. And I kept that beard until we moved to Maui. John bought me a cowboy hat. I lived in the same house as John. There were usually 4 or 5 people living there, one for each bedroom. There were 2 toilets, one upstairs and one downstairs. At one point, the downstairs toilet broke so that you couldn't use it. That was my toilet. I was embarrassed to use the upstairs toilet, which any normal adult person would have done. Instead, I thought I could fix the downstairs toilet by digging down and cleaning it out or something. But digging was folly. That is, it was impossible, as these are, after all, the Rocky Mountains. So I usually held it until the gas station opened at 9 o'clock. I soon met 2 ladies at the house. One was Jody. She was from Texas. During one phone call that I had with John concerning my move from Michigan while I was still in Michigan, I talked with her on the phone. On the call, we decided that we would get married. She was an outgoing, fun person. Too scary for me. I was still trying to figure out what I was going to do, or what I had to do to survive here in Colorado, so I really was no fun at all until I got drunk or high. And drunk and high I did get. One night, several of these people got together and partied at the house. I didn't know what to do or what to say. Honestly, I was terrified to open my mouth unless I had a few beers in me, and then I would usually say something stupid or insulting or obnoxious. Or worse yet, just mumble so no one could understand what I was saying. I forgot where it was, but one acquaintance had referred to me as Mumbles. Yep, I was all of those things. So at this party, we all went to the rooftop through a doorway in the house and checked out the stars. They were fantastic. We were at an elevation of 8,200 feet, 2,500 meters, and it was awesome. That sky. And then it got cold. So all went back inside except me. I must have stayed out there in that freezing cold for another 20 minutes or so, hoping they would all just disappear when I returned. No such luck. But there was one lady in the group who I got to meet again 4 years later on Maui. Her name was Michelle. We did make love on Maui. And that story also ended with my typical egregious flair. Stay tuned. Another time, Reed's lady friend and another female friend who was a singer in a band and I were in a men's clothing store. Reed's lady friend worked there. They were helping me select a Snowmass Colorado shirt. I needed to start looking like a local. They chose one, and then I asked where the changing room was. They were amazed, maybe disappointed. Truthfully, I was so terribly out of shape, I couldn't bear to have them see my disgusting body. I did buy the shirt, though. So, I had my cowboy hat and a shirt. I also had jeans from Michigan. So, what's left? Well, boots. I bought them from another friend of John's at this guy's boot shop. So now at least I was looking the part of a local. John had a photo business there. It was called Magic Photos. Most people called him Magic John. That also fit well with his other side business. I tried my hand at working with John on the tours, those river rafting tours, but I was too lazy or too weak or too ignorant, too stupid to do what was necessary. But I now had the correct costume to wear and a place to live and soon a construction job. With Michigan and all those disasters that I left behind there, perhaps ran away from, my new life had started. Thanks again, John.